So, what is up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the iPhone 16 Pro Max versus the Galaxy S24 Ultra. Which to buy? The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is now a lot older than the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Of course, the S25 Ultra will be the next big hitter from Samsung, but this product is still very competitive. A lot of times there are more discounts, so at the price point spectrum, we are going to definitely say that the Samsung is more than likely going to be had for cheaper right now, even though at retail they do look about the same. You're always going to pay full mostly on the iPhone unless you take advantage of a trade-in discount. Usually the Samsung is a little bit cheaper. At this point for sure, so that's how I feel about the prices. The first area I want to talk about is design and which one to buy. This one is pretty simple. If you like a more ergonomic phone to hold in terms of just the way it curves and feels more natural in the hand, I do think it's the iPhone here. However, I do like the Samsung if you're a heavy user because it has a very boxy large screen. If you're using the S Pen and the stylus within the body, I would buy this one for that massive screen experience. Even though the iPhone does have thinner bezels, it does have a slightly larger display. The Samsung takes better advantage of it, and its boxy shape kind of gives the illusion that it just looks bigger. I don't know what it is. Even if it has a slightly thicker bezel, the shape of it just feels huge. The iPhone is huge as well, but it's more of a bezel thing, whereas the Samsung, if you put it next to it, is still slightly taller. So this overall shape feels bigger, but design-wise, I will say that the Samsung is not my choice between these two. From the pure squared rectangle look, I do think Samsung is going to curve those corners, and that's going to make this a much more appealing looking phone for the 25 Ultra. Of course, I do have to say I think the bezels do look nicer as well. I hope they thin out these bezels even more because now, even though I thought these were incredibly thin already, when I see this, they don't look as thin anymore. I have to take a look at the S24 Plus to give it closer comparison to that of the iPhone 16 Pro Max. When it comes to the bodies and the durability of these products right here, they feel pretty similar. They both have the same textured glass back and titanium edges, with titanium rails on both sides, so the overall outer shell of the phone is titanium on both. They just generally feel basically like the same type of product in terms of material choices, so not very different. IP68 on both. I'm pretty confident both of these are sturdy. I wouldn't make my choice just based on the overall durability. Both of them are strong. The iPhone definitely has maybe less of a chance of hitting the corner because it doesn't have a sharp corner. The iPhone can also, especially on this desert titanium, I'm sure this titanium can get nicked up and scuffed if you hit cement. Same with the Samsung. Probably not as much with natural titanium, but it's really going to come down to color choices, which one scuffs up more, and things of that sort. When it comes to the display, this is a very tight call here because there are pros and cons to both. Samsung has a much better display for anti-reflective. If you don't like glare on your phone, the Samsung is absolutely crushing the iPhone 16 day to day. But it's kind of like that even without that screen protector on there. However, the iPhone strikes back in another area, and it's going to be the 6.9 in display now, so it definitely feels like a little bit of a wider panel. So when you're reading something, it just feels more immersive. The Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra does have an amazing display as well, and the bezels are just more noticeable now compared to the other product. It doesn't feel not spacious, it definitely feels very spacious, but there's just a slight more width kind of feeling on the iPhone now. The S24 Plus also has the same feel with these super ultra thin bezels, and I just expect Samsung to kind of stretch them out just a little bit. But overall, the differences are not massive. It just feels like this is a taller phone. I also think Samsung, because of the anti-reflective properties, has made the display a little bit closer to natural color reproduction. A lot of people complained about Samsung's fake colors being too vivid before in the past, and now they went very natural, which kind of irritated a few people who did love those ultra-saturated vivid colors. The Samsung panel on the S24 Ultra to me never looked quite as vibrant as the Galaxy Z Fold 6 or the S23 Ultra, S22 Ultras that came before it. iPhone still isn't an overly saturated display either. It just kind of looks a little bit more colorful, I would say, on default settings. You can get it pretty close with Vivid here on the S24 Ultra, and I do still like how the S24 Ultra has more display settings here, like screen resolutions you could change to save battery life, adaptive color tones. There just seems like a little bit more display functionality to play around with here. At the end of the day, these are two of the best displays on the market today. If you want a taller, boxier display, you'll definitely want to buy this one. If you want a wider but also more comfortable to hold corners on this display, with a display that just kind of has nice calibration without you having to do anything, then you would want the iPhone. From a software perspective, it's so fun to use these phones nowadays. I just love how polished both of them are. I love how far they've come from their early beginnings. Samsung definitely has a lot of fun features to use, and Apple does as well.